Hey, I'm going to show you how to set up the Decentralized and Collaborative AI on Blockchain demo. First, let's get MetaMask set up. We're going to add our local test network to MetaMask. It's not going to connect right now because the blockchain isn't running yet. So we open up the README and copy this command. It will start the Docker container with all the dependencies. The first time you run this, it'll take some time to download the container. Like the README says, run the setup-lib script if it's your first time using this project or if you've recently updated it. Now we'll start byobu so we can run a few processes in the Docker container. First, we'll start our blockchain. Copy the first private key so that we can add it to MetaMask. Sometimes it helps to switch the network to main and back if MetaMask is not responsive. Here I have some old transactions from this account, so I'll reset the account to make sure that we're starting fresh. This is something you might have to do as you work on the project and when you want to start from a fresh state. Let's copy one more private key to set up one more account. Again, I go to Import Account. Now, let's add some names to the account. I'll call this one Bad to represent someone trying to add bad data. I'll call the other one Good for someone that adds good data. Let's make sure we're on the right test network. Now we have our good and bad accounts. Again, I reset the account to clear old transactions from previous demos that aren't on this fresh blockchain. Let's start the other two components. Press F2 to open a new window in byobu and start the server. Press F2 again to open a new window and start the client. I just quickly switch back to the server to check on it. Starting the client can take a while the first time because the smart contracts need to be deployed. I sped up the video a little bit here. Great, the client is ready. Open up your browser to the URL shown. You can see that there are two models to choose from. Let's just make sure that MetaMask is running and that we're using the good account. Ignore the message from my dad, scroll down, and make sure to connect the application. Let's pick the first model, the movie review sentiment classifier. Now we can interact with the model. Let's test it out. How about a negative one? Now that we know it can work, let's train it by adding some data. We type in the movie review and give it a classification or a label. This particular incentive mechanism requires a deposit in case our data turns out to be bad. This is not always the case. We confirm the MetaMask transaction so that we can actually send the training data to the model. Great, the transaction went through. Here we can see the data we've added so far. Let's add another example. You can see that the deposit required by this incentive mechanism is higher than before because we've added data recently. We can collect a refund on our deposit. This particular incentive mechanism approves the refund because the model still agrees with the originally provided classification. Normally, we would have to wait longer to get the refund, but for this demo, I decreased the refund wait time to a few seconds. let's switch to our bad account and add some incorrect data. This is clearly wrong, but we're going to add it anyway. Let's try out the model. We can see that the classification now classifies this sample incorrectly. So I switched to my good account so that we can correct the issue. We add some training data. Now let's try it out. Great, we corrected it. Let's switch back to the bad account. Now, we cannot reclaim our deposit for that sample because the classifier does not agree with the contribution. We'll switch back to the good account. Since the bad account cannot take the deposit back because the classifier does not agree with the submitted data and label, we can take the deposit from them as the good user. This is a benefit that we've earned for getting refunds for adding good data earlier. We confirm the transaction. So, as the good account, we can collect refunds on data we've already submitted so that we can make sure we earn points towards collecting rewards in the future. Remember, this was just an example of one incentive mechanism. It is not a strict requirement of this system to collect deposits for data.